Hi guys, we are back with another cooking video. It's been a minute, happy to be here. Just got done with a sweaty workout and finished most of my work for the day. So we're going to jump into meal prepping for maybe lunch or dinner for the rest of this week or for a few days this week. I'm making Ditalini, one of my favorite dishes my grandma used to make me after dance when I was a kid. Ditalini pasta, this small guy that usually goes in soups as displayed here. But she always used to make it with peas, garlic, and onions. So today I'm making that. So I have my water boiling already because we don't want to bore you with waiting for that. And we're gonna throw in about a half a box is what I have left. And this pasta specifically cooks for about 10 to 11 minutes. So I'm gonna put on my timer. Just make sure you do the same if you're gonna be cooking your pasta along. Stir, make sure it gets separated, and then we can dive into cutting those onions up. Again, this is the brand I like to use, Barilla, but sometimes I use other ones, and this is called Ditalini. All right, so now we're gonna go in with some red onion. You don't need a full red onion, you just need some of it. And we're gonna do some dicing. And let me see if I can get this to a spot where you might be able to see a little bit better. So, you don't need to do too much. It really depends what flavors you like. So I really like the onion flavor in this dish. So I do quite a bit of onion, and I try to dice it as small as I can. So it takes a little bit of time, nothing crazy. But you can leave yours in a bigger chunk if you'd like. But because this is a small dish, like the pasta is small, I try to cut the onions a little bit smaller, if not the same size as the pasta itself, if that helps for reference. So just chop up some onions, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna need another pan because we're gonna do some sauteing of the onions as well as the peas together, because we want the peas to kind of get that good onion flavor attached to them. So just so you guys can see, this is how I'm dicing my onions. I'm gonna do more, and then I'm gonna throw them in. If you guys wanna use fresh garlic, you can absolutely do that. I actually chose to use an olive oil this time that's infused with garlic because my roommate just got it and it sounds really good, so I'm gonna give it a try. Not sure if I even have fresh garlic on hand, so it's coming in handy. But yeah, you could do fresh garlic, and you could just cut it pretty small, dice it up, crush it up, whatever works for you. But it tastes really nice in this dish as well, just to give it that extra flavor. And you just want to do an even ratio, or a ratio that you think is even. Let me grab my towel real quick. Gotta keep drying my hands. But yeah, if you want a lot of onion, like I said, keep chopping up. If you're not really an onion person and you just want the subtle hint or flavor, you can do way less than what I'm going to do. Just keep that in mind. But yeah, chop your onions for now, and then once we get them onto the pan, we'll throw in some olive oil. We'll saute those for a bit, and then we'll add in our peas. I'm going in with frozen peas because that is what I have, but canned works too. I've really never made like peas from scratch or from like the bag per se, or maybe I have one time, but it's been such a long time. I always buy frozen. It really is just so accessible and easy to use, and just easy to add into so many things, and they're good for you. So I love it. And I don't know about you guys, but like this dish just screams childhood for me, living in an Italian household, being sick. Ditalini is one of those things you used to get with butter, or a little bit of butter and Parmesan when you weren't feeling your best. Thank goodness I'm feeling okay, but you know, it just reminds me of childhood. Ooh, I am making a mess over here. So here's my chopped onions. I could chop a little bit more, guys, but you know, you get the idea of what you want it to look like. I'm gonna throw this into a pan. And the peas will go in after, because we kind of want the onions to get a little sauteed on their own first. And then we'll go in with the peas. Stir your pasta a bit, make sure it separates. Ditalini has a tendency to really stay together, so if you want to pour in some olive oil into this, please do so. And you might want to get a few spices out, like olive oil, like salt and pepper. So I'm going in with this olive oil. I could not find it linked on Amazon, but the company is Williams Sonoma. This is a roasted garlic infused olive oil. Looks amazing. It's literally California extra virgin olive oil, cold pressed, unfiltered with garlic oil. So I'm gonna use a bit of that if I can open it today. I've been having such problems opening things, like it's hysterical. My sister the other day and me were trying to open the thing of caramel because I was making a certain dish. It took forever. We were doing all the tricks. So I'm throwing that in quite a good amount because this is going to be, you know, with the pasta too. So I'm throwing that one in, and then I also have a little bit of a basil one. So this is an olive oil basil infused. So I'm gonna try a little bit of that. I could open this one too, but guys, go ahead in with your regular olive oil. That's just fine as well. I linked the one that I always use when I'm not using these type of things, and it's just regular olive oil, so that does the job. So you're going to want to get a spatula out. That will really help you, or at least it helps me when I'm dealing with the onions because it doesn't stick to the wooden spoon as much. You want a decent amount of olive oil to the ratio of your onions, if that makes sense, but nothing extremely overwhelming unless you want to feel that sick feeling, which obviously you don't want to feel, but you know that sick feeling after you have too much oil? You don't want that. So we're just doing a decent amount, and we'll let that saute. The pasta is boiling over here. I don't know about you guys. And yes, my hair is so dirty. Let's just ignore that. We're going to take a shower after this. All right, so the red onions, those are the two options. This is my go-to olive oil. My family always buys this, so I'm really used to that one. We do get a few different ones sent here at this apartment because my roommate is an influencer and I'm kind of a micro-influencer, so we like to test out different ones, but that is our staple go-to. Like whenever we go to the grocery store, that's the one we get. For the sake of making this recipe a little fun, I'm trying the basil infused and garlic infused olive oils today. So if you guys have any infused ones that you think would go good with this dish, throw them in. Okay, so now we're talking peas. Again, I'm going in with my frozen peas, but you guys can use canned peas. And I'm just gonna throw some in a bit. I've taken these out like 10 minutes ago, so they're a bit defrosted, but they will heat up really quick on this pan. And you want to throw them in a little bit because you don't want them to get soggy. You don't want them to like lose, whoa, did you guys see that? You don't want them to lose their value extremely by heating them up. You just, I don't know where it went. They have the vacuum. You just want them to be like added in when the onions are kind of ready to be shut off. So keep them aside for now. Just know that you're going to be using them. You don't want your onions to get like brown. You could, my grandma likes to brown them. She used to use canola oil for this recipe. I don't use canola oil anymore, but yes, it does taste good with that. I am an olive oil person only, it seems these days. So yeah, just if you want to use a different oil, go ahead and try. But olive oil definitely gives this a really, really nice flavor. And you can make the, what I was trying to say before the tangent began is my grandma, when she used the canola oil, it would naturally get hotter and get more to that brown caramelized type of onion, which is really good. I like mine to be more in like the middle grounds between browning and still red. So that's what I'm doing. By the way, you could use a white onion for this. However, red onion just really packs this dish with flavor, being that peas and pasta on their own are not really that rich in flavor. So you just want to keep in mind like the red onion kind of carries this dish, which is why I always suggest using a red onion. Go ahead and get your strainer out for that pasta. It's going to be done in just a few minutes. And you're also going to need some Parmesan cheese. I have a whole block that my grandma gave me yesterday, so we're going to be using a shredder for that. But if you have regular Parm, take that out, get it ready. That's a big staple in this dish as well. Not like a big staple, but it definitely helps amplify everything. So the onions are currently looking like this. They are sizzling. They're getting there, but they're not exactly where I would like them to be. However, it is time to throw in those peas. So throw in your peas. I'm using petite peas, which just means they're smaller. These are some of my favorite though, because easier to get in that like mouthful. And I go in with quite a lot because I like to have a good amount of peas to my pasta ratio. This is something I never used to do as a kid. Never really had vegetables that much. So now I'm really just loving, like, the pasta isn't the main dish, right? Like, the vegetables should be the main dish. But obviously, I still eat a lot of pasta, but I try to make an even amount of vegetables so that every bite has an even amount of vegetables as pasta, if that makes sense. So this is how many peas I did, quite a bit. And you can keep the heat on like medium. If you want to lower it a bit, you can. But here's your different pea options that I linked for you guys. Those are some of the cans I typically use when I don't have these on hand. There's peas all over the ground now. Next thing we're gonna do is go in with some pink Himalayan sea salt, some of my favorite. And the goal of this dish is to make the peas and the onions taste, you know, like capture all the real flavors so that when we throw the pasta in here, it's just really like adapting all the flavors from the vegetables. Hopefully that makes some sense. And the onions are definitely getting a little bit more caramelized now, but it slows down a bit because you have all the peas in here, right? So give that a little bit of a stir. That's your sea salt, you can put that away. The next thing we're going in with is this ground black pepper. Take whatever pepper you got out, throw it in. This is a new one that I'm just trialing with. It's a little bit different from what I'm used to. I don't know what it is, it's just different from like peppercorns, the one that you turn. This is just what we found at our corner store the other day, but it does the job. It's just different from what I'm used to, so it comes out pretty fast. So the other day when I made this dish, I had quite a bit of pepper, but it tasted good. Guys, if you want, you could throw in some crushed red pepper. I'll probably do a few flakes. Never hurt nobody. And there's our pasta cube. So let's turn off that timer, turn off that water. Your pasta should be done. Let those peas and onions just saute on their own. You can stir around the salt and pepper, but once that's good, you can just leave it. Again, guys, we're making Ditalini for anyone who's new here, so this is what that looks like. And I'm gonna quickly strain it in my sink, and I will be right back. You can also save some pasta water, so what I like to do is strain it quickly, and then quickly put this, with the pasta in it, into, well, on top of the pot, so that water is falling into it instead of just straight into the sink. And that can be used for this dish as well, which is going to be helpful. So let's move that there. Things are happening in this pot. We are moving along. Things are crisping up. What I'm going to do now is transfer excuse me, this to here, so maybe we could see it a bit better, but not really, but we'll try. And just turn that burner on. The pot is still going to be really hot, so it's going to be cooking still. And just give it another minute or two, just to really get the flavors going. And then we're going to throw in our pasta. And like literally, this was what, a 20-minute meal, not even. Super easy. I think this is a super kid-friendly dish. I don't know if I'm just speaking from experience because I had this as a kid a lot. But I think most kids don't mind having this type of dish, and it's a way to sneak in some vegetables in there. Again, you want to put a lot of peas in and onions in if that's what you're trying to do. Give your kids some more vegetables. You could really throw like other things into this dish, but what makes it so good and so like special and kind of like authentic is just the simplicity of the flavorful peas and onions. So that is why it's traditionally served this way. But yeah, so this is what your peas and onions will look like. They're just, you know, they're cooked. And now we're going to throw in our pasta. You can turn down the heat to medium, or actually not medium, to low. And then whatever little water is in here, throw it in. And you're done with your pot, you're done with your strainer, so you can put that away. And you're just going to mix everything up now. And literally, just like that, you're done. Some people like to add a little bit more olive oil in at this point. I try my best to add enough olive oil in with the peas and onions to begin with, that now that it's in, the pasta's in this pot or pan, it's going to get that olive oil. Like mine's already getting greasy, like it has enough. there's really no need to add more. If you want to, go ahead. You could also throw in some butter if you like those two flavors together. But really this dish is gonna sit for a little bit on the stove because this dish is actually served best like not hot, not cold, but definitely not hot. It's more of like that medium. You take it out of the fridge, let it sit for a little bit, maybe heat it up for like 30 seconds. That is how this dish is served. So, so good. So what I like to do is wait a few minutes typically. Let it cool down, let it sizzle down, shut the heat off. Mix it up so really everything is getting together. And then I just throw on some cheese and then I let it sit and I really don't eat it until it's cooled down because that's when it tastes the best. So let's just cool it down for 1 minute. You can put your onions away, whatever you were using, put it away. If you need a few minutes, I'm gonna throw my scraps out and then we'll just add the parm and we'll show you the finishing touch. But it's a really simple, simple dish. Make sure you wash your hands in here. And that's literally it. For anyone who came in late, this is the pasta again, simple Ditalini. And here is the end result. My hand is breaking, but here's the end result. Super, super yummy. What I'm going to do is just put in a little bit of cheese because you want the cheese not to melt as much so you can put some cheese on later. But yeah, I have this whole block of cheese that my really Italian grandma gave me yesterday. Hold on, let me see if you can see. She just like handed me this block, which I cut it in half, so the other half's in the fridge. And she was like, take it. I was like, perfect. So yeah, I'm just gonna shred some of this on. Otherwise, you could just use your regular Parmesan. And yeah, it just adds that little bit more flavor to it that everyone really looks to with the pasta. And whatever amount of cheese you want is fine. There's no right, there's no wrong. And again, you're probably gonna wanna go in later and add in some cheese that doesn't melt because this one is going to melt, but it's gonna kind of like infuse again with everything, which is gonna be really yummy for later. Kind of the same way we add in like a parm cheese when we're making cavatelle and broccoli, so it's like kind of infused in the pasta and broccoli at one point when you're finally eating it. Because look, it's kind of disappeared already and just adapted the flavor. So guys, that is it. Thank you so much for joining this live. I hope someone will make this recipe today, either for themselves, for a friend, for a family member. They will love it. And I make it a good amount of portion at one time because pasta is always easy to store. It doesn't go bad, and peas and onions are not something that are gonna like be gross to eat the next day. So yeah, keep it in a really nice solid container and then you can heat it up in the microwave or you can heat it up on the stove for just a little bit. Again, you're gonna wanna serve it at that like medium temperature, definitely not hot. On the colder side or the cooler side, depending on how you like it though. And that's really it. I hope you guys enjoy. One last thing, this is the set I'm sporting because people always ask me what Amazon sets I'm wearing. This is the set I wore to work earlier today and the set I wore to work out. So I am not going to be laying in bed anytime soon. I'm going to be showering first after I put this away and calling it the rest of the day. Gonna make some food, maybe hop on here again or hop on here tomorrow. I really wanna come back on and share some really cool recipes that I've been trialing with. I'm in the midst of kind of getting back into my health routine, especially with food now that the cold winter is dying down. I always feel more inclined to eat healthier. I don't know about you guys, but I know I've mentioned on here that I suffer with a lot of depression and seasonal affective disorder when it is really cold and dark out. So I'm already feeling so much better. Again, I'm on the East Coast for anyone who doesn't know. So we're starting to get the warm weather and I'm feeling so much better and I'm just ready to like dive into the health journey again. So hopefully you guys can join me. Follow me on Instagram. It's Health with a Crunch. That is Health with a Crunch, the same name on here. And hopefully we just continue to grow this little community we have. Thanks so much, guys, and we will talk soon. Bye.